Okay, so picture this. You've got a spiritual leader, right? Millions of followers. This guy's promising miracles, healings, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
And then, bam, suddenly he's behind bars facing a life sentence.
Yeah, it's a huge fall from grace.
It really makes you think about faith and power and accountability, Like, how do these things get so twisted?
Absolutely, and the impact on the community is massive.
Yeah, so that's what we're diving into today. The case of Bajinder Singh. He called himself the Yeshu prophet.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, well, he just got a life sentence in a 2018 rape case, so we've got a bunch of news reports he sent over, and we're going to break it all down. The accusations, the trial, the fallout for the Pentecostal movement in Punjab. It's a lot.
It's going to be fascinating to unpack all of this.
Yeah, it's really something. So, the first thing that jumps out at me is this total disconnect, right? You have this guy all about faith and healing, and then these horrific allegations. It's jarring.
It really is. On one hand, you have these huge public gatherings, claims of miracles, people putting so much trust in him.
And then on the other hand, you have this dark side, this abuse of power. It's a lot to process.
It makes you question everything, doesn't it?
For sure. So let's go back to the beginning. 2018, a woman goes to the Zirakpur police station, files a complaint. What did she say happened?
Well, at the heart of it, she claims that Bajinder Singh approached her with this promise of helping her go abroad.
Yeah.
Like a better life kind of thing.
Okay, so a classic lure.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
But instead of helping her, she alleges that he assaulted her at his place in Mohali Sector 63.
And we're talking about rape specifically, right?
Yes. She accuses him of rape, and to make matters even worse, she says he filmed it.
Oh my God.
And then used that video to threaten her, saying he'd post it online if she didn't do what he wanted.
That's just horrific. I mean, just layers of manipulation and abuse.
It's incredibly disturbing, and sadly, this kind of abuse of power, it happens more than we'd like to think.
Absolutely. So these charges obviously very serious. The court ultimately finds him guilty. What were the specific charges they convicted him on?
Okay, so under the Indian Penal Code, they got him on Section 376. That's the rape charge. Then there's 323, which covers voluntarily causing hurt, and 506 for criminal intimidation.
So they threw the book at him, basically.
Pretty much the sentence reflects that too, life in prison.
Wow, and he was 42 when all of this went down, right?
Yeah, 42. So this is, it's a life changer for sure, and the impact goes way beyond him too.
Right, his whole ministry, his followers, everyone who believed in him.
It's a ripple effect.
And it's important to mention that there were other people originally accused in this case, right? What happened to them?
Yeah, there were 5 others named in the complaint. Akbar Badi, Rajesh Chaudhary, Jitendra Kumar Sitar Ali, and Sandeep Pelwan.
Okay, so a whole group.
But they were all acquitted.
So just Bajinder Singh found guilty.
Yep, just him.
And this wasn't the only time he had a run-in with the law, right? There were those other allegations that surfaced pretty recently.
Right before the sentencing in the 2018 case, actually, he got slapped with some new charges by the Mohali police assault and other offenses.
And what triggered those new charges?
Well, a video went viral on social media. It supposedly shows Bajinder Singh in an argument with a woman, and then he slaps her.
Oh, wow.
They're saying it's CCTV footage from February 14th.
So not that long ago.
Nope. And on top of all that, there was another investigation going on, a sexual harassment case.
Oh, man, this guy.
This one was filed on February 28th by a 22-year-old woman. She claims he was sending her inappropriate messages, making unwanted advances, the whole deal.
So they brought in a special investigation team for this one, right?
Yeah, an SIT, which means they're taking it pretty seriously.
Makes sense. And what's Bajinder Singh's response to all of this?
He's denying everything, of course, calling the accusations baseless.
This sounds familiar.
Right. It's the same playbook.
So we have this guy who was this powerful spiritual leader with a massive following, and now it's all crashing down around him. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around.
It's like a Greek tragedy almost.
Totally. So to understand how we got here, let's talk about his background. How did he become so influential?
Well, he started preaching relatively recently, actually around 2012.
Okay, so not that long ago, and he became this Yeshu prophet. What's the story behind that name?
That's a good question. It definitely helped him stand out. It made him seem special, like he had this direct line to God.
So smart branding, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it worked. He was drawing huge crowds, people looking for miracles, healings, hoping for divine intervention.
And he had more than just one church.
Yeah, he had the Church of Glory and Wisdom in Tajpur, Jalandhar, and another one in Madri Mohali.
Keep him busy.
And his followers claim there are branches all over India and even internationally, so this was a big operation.
Wow. And of course, he had a huge online presence too, right? That's essential these days.
Oh yeah. His YouTube channel, Prophet Bajinder Singh, had over 3.74 million subscribers.
That's insane.
He would broadcast his sermons live,
Yeah.
reaching people all over the world.
So this is where it gets really interesting for me, because when you have someone with that much influence facing these kinds of charges, it's bound to have a huge impact on the Pentecostal movement. What are people saying about that?
Well, his ministry was one of the biggest in Punjab. Drew people from other states, too. So this conviction, this life sentence, it's sending shockwaves for sure.
It really raises questions about leadership in these organizations, doesn't it? Like, how do you trust?
Absolutely. And it's not the first time we've seen this happen either. There have been other self-proclaimed religious leaders in India who've been convicted of similar crimes.
Yeah, the reports you sent mentioned Gurmeet Ram Rahim and Isaram.
Exactly. It's like a pattern. These accusations of abuse and misconduct, it really makes you wonder about the power dynamics in these situations.
It's a tough conversation, but it's one we need to have. And within the Christian community itself, I imagine the reactions are mixed.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of soul searching going on. Hamid Masih, the president of the Punjab Christian movement, he had some interesting things to say.
Like what?
Well, he said there's this feeling among Christians in Punjab that maybe outside forces were involved, like some kind of anti-Christian conspiracy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he thinks it'll have a negative impact on the movement, but that it'll be temporary. He also talked about needing to look inward, address any problems within the community while also being aware of potential threats from the outside.
So a lot of different perspectives there.
It's complex, for sure.
And how has Bajinder Singh himself responded to all of this?
Well, when those sexual harassment accusations came out, he claimed it was all a plot to discredit him and stop him from doing Jesus' work.
So deflecting, basically.
Yeah, and he'd always bring up the size of his crowds, like, look how many people believe in me.
Classic deflection tactic.
It's a way to avoid answering the actual accusations.
Definitely. And this whole case is happening against the backdrop of this growing political influence of pastors in Punjab, right?
Exactly. It's become a real trend. Candidates seeking their blessings, endorsements. Yeah, it's a powerful voting bloc.
And it even led to the formation of a Christian political party, right?
Yep. In April 2023, a bunch of churches and denominations got together and formed the United Punjab Party. They wanted to get involved in Christian politics, advocate for things like reservation for Dalit converts.
Wow. So they're really stepping into the political arena.
They are.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because around the same time, Bajinder Singh and another pastor, Harpreet Diyal, they got raided by the income tax department.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the United Punjab Party, they were going to run candidates in a by-election, but ended up supporting another party instead.
So lots of political maneuvering going on.
It's a whole other layer to this story.
It really is. So we've got faith, power, politics, abuse. It's all tangled up in this case. What do you think this all means for us, as we try to make sense of the world?
I think the biggest takeaway here is the need for critical thinking. We have to scrutinize those and power demand accountability and really understand how these movements work, how they can be manipulated.
It's like we can't just blindly trust anyone, no matter how charismatic or spiritual they seem.
All right, we have to be discerning, look for the facts, ask tough questions. In this case, it's a prime example of that you have the victim seeking justice, the community grappling with the fallout, and then this whole political dimension. It's fascinating and disturbing all at the same time.
And it highlights how much power these religious leaders can have and the potential for harm when that power is abused.
Absolutely. And the question for all of us is, how do we prevent that from happening? How do we support those who've been hurt and ensure that justice is served?
It's a big question and one that doesn't have easy answers.
It's an ongoing challenge for sure.
Yeah.
But I think this deep dive has at least shed some light on the complexities at play.
Absolutely well said. So for those of you listening, if you found this deep dive insightful and you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. We're dedicated to bringing you more content like this, exploring complex issues and helping you make sense of the world around us.
It's important to stay informed and engaged.
It really is. So hit that subscribe button and join us for more deep dives in the future. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.